trying to view each one to see if that's the one with the picture in, with the right, it takes a while. This came through quite quick. Pulled the picture up, tried to keep them all the same size. So even though it moves around, I've fixed it in the center of the screen so you can see the changes going on. Does a few of those blank things, doesn't really know what's happening, best guess. And then it's like milky. And I think, oh, this is terrible. It's over and over, one after another. Went on, a couple of hundred. The milky thing is part of it, right? It's part of this light. This is the weird thing. It does that jelly thing again. Like with the Houston lights.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you can see an edge, like a translucent edge. And the thing inside, this milky thing, moves in from the edge. So you can see it's actually within inside it. And then this shape comes through and moves over the frames. And I've managed to capture that over a good, I don't know what frame rate it was, but it captured the movement pretty well over a short space. And then it goes milky again, and then it turns back into the light. And it goes into the distance as well, because I was having to enlarge it quite a lot. And I was even getting pixels, it's like, oh, it must have gone further away than 200 yards or something. But I was curious about how far it was from the boat, trying to think how big the thing was that I've seen under the water. Because I've seen something under the water, which I didn't know was there. Because I'm working in so close, the light moves around and it goes down to the water, and I'm pulling it up, getting the frame to match each one. And then I'm looking at the water thinking, that's like a light in the water. Is it a reflection from this light? But then I can see another one. And as the frames move on, more of these lights appear under the water. And it's not a reflection. It's not moonlight on the ripples or anything, which I totally ignored this first off. So I just thought it was that. It was just the light shimmering. It's not. The lights under the water are causing the light on the surface. When I zoomed in, you can see a form, a brown form, like I saw on the Houston one. Can you remember when that first one I showed you and you went, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
There's that shape behind this light. The same thing is under the water with them lights. Here's the weird one. As it comes down, I think it's on the second time it comes down, these lights, two of them blob together. I think it goes into three lights, and this one or two lights, and this one joins it, and then goes in, and goes under the water, and then you can see it under the green, and you can see it changing under there a little bit. I put some down on the second clip I think I sent you.
Yeah.
There's some crazy stuff on that. I don't think I've put. There's one on which is like a dummy shape or something in this jelly. I've seen that very similar on the Houston one. I'll get these when I can find them. I'll get them up. They're a TIFF file. They're pretty big, so you can see a lot of detail. That image of the pink thing I didn't see on the second animation I did, because I got that from a different frame rate, which means I've not got enough frame rates to capture all the movement that's going on. But that's how I believe it works. I'm not sure. I mean, you'd know, Tom, because it's only from what I've experienced that I'm picking this stuff from.
Yeah. I mean, the immediate question that I've got in my head, and don't presume that I'm any kind of expert, is when you see these balls of light or things that this appears to be, there's to me and lots of the people I've listened to, two main things it could be. One is it's a ball of plasma.
Mm-hmm.
So you would imagine that when plasma or lightning goes into water, it's going to dissipate or at least boil the water around it. So you're going to see lots of steam and foam and everything. The other one is, as like Bob Lazar has mentioned, like gravitational lensing. So if it's something which is creating a really dense gravitational field around it, then it looks like a ball of light because all the ambient light around it is lensed around it, just like it would go through a crystal ball or something like that. And that would have the effect on water of like pushing a glass bowl into it.
Yeah.
So it would just move out the way.
Yeah.
And looking at that video that you sent there, it looks more like that, but it doesn't look uniform. So it's not like a perfect 360 glass circular thing.
No,
more of a like morphic field. It's fascinating.
It does, swell and shape. Was it on the last one? Oh no, it was the previous one I did with Jimmy with that ball of light in the sky. If you remember, Jimmy, the sphere inside that, I was struck how perfect that did look. And far from what this does. This is very organic, very
I wonder if it's because it's because of how close it is to the water and
Yeah.
then goes into the water. I wonder if, and I'm no expert at all, so I'm just speculating here, but I wonder if potentially through the vapor of the water and indeed the actual water itself could have created a bit of a
Like a mirage effect,
yeah,
a scintillation, I think they call
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
to sort of change the shape a little bit. So potentially it is a perfect sort of circle, but then we start going through water to look at it, or going through water vapor. I can imagine there is some,
But
just
the
above the
earlier
water.
shots, it's not in the water.
Oh, okay.
That's out. You know, where it's
Right.
black.
Mm.
Yeah, I did an inverted one, and I've tried playing around with that. I don't think I've sent you that one, and that's showing some different things. Looks a bit tricky to pull out though because it's got a heavy contrast. But
Mm.
there's again a lot from what I thought was going to be a pretty simple little quick project has opened up, especially when I saw all the lights underneath. You can see how big this thing is. Just reminded me so much of the Houston one. I've been putting animations together, what to post out, and then this came up, drags away again, and I really want to get them out because it's going to blow your minds. You do look at, I'm looking at it going, this isn't, it's not real. It's not, it can't be, but it is, and it's amazing. You know, it's gorgeous and scary. Some of it's like cracky, you know. I don't know. You make contact
Crazy.
with anything like this, or
That's such a powerful thing, though. Like in an age of digital mess and Photoshop and stuff like that, to be
yeah,
able to say, okay, so we don't know what this is, but step -1 is it's something.
yeah,
And then after that, at least we've got a foot in the door as to this is worth investigating. What
yeah.
else correlates with this? Because David Fravor said with the Tic Tac that when he got there was white water and it looked like this thing was.
Hmm.
He didn't say it word for word because he only said what he saw, but it implied that there was something under the water there.
Under the water, yeah,
In the Aguadillo footage from that airport there, it's sort of dipping in and out of the water and
yeah.
splitting into two and going back together, and that's something that once we know that it's worth investigating further, that's when we can look for trends and okay, so we know these things can do this now. Without knowing what these things are,
Oh,
at least we can start to study their behavior a little bit.
I know this is. I mean, this is totally left field, isn't it? I mean, this is like, like I've said before, it's not the almond eyes, greys and the greens or whatever, and comfy spaceships, and they've got all the system worked out on the inside with the anti-gravity, and this is like life. This is crazy, and you can watch it evolving and moving and following a narrative
Yeah.
as well. That I've said that before, and they all do it in different stages, different shapes, but they follow a pattern of doing things. Yeah, it's really intriguing, and I don't know where it's going. I mean, what that thing with the abyss, what I said about before, the movie. I mean, this is it, isn't it? This is your lights in the jelly, and where did that come from? And that was like '88 or something, wasn't it? Where they must have had sightings of stuff like that before. So
Yeah.
they're in the water and they're in the sky.
I think it's wonderful that we've got people like George Knapp and the Netflix team that are prepared to go out there and do it, because there's so many people saying, look, it's coming from the water, or
Yeah.
there's a lot coming from the water. And I get, I talked to Adam G. Simon, who interviewed a couple of times in the past, and like constantly, I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying, but constantly, dude, it's coming from the, like, I told you it's
Yeah.
coming from the water, but that so many different people say it, and we talked about this before with Richard Dolan. He's done so much work on USOs and UFOs coming from the water and oceans and rivers and any body of water.
So
But
easy to hide.
absolutely, but it's like everyone's talking about that side of things. People
Yeah.
are trying to take photos from land. It's like hardly anyone's going out there. Maybe Avi Loeb had his thing, but that was more to recover objects. But at least he's going out there doing expeditions.
Yeah.
But so it's really cool to see people like George Knapp. It couldn't have been a better person, really, could it? But somebody like George Knapp going out and they're going, well, let's commission an expedition. Let's go out there. Let's take ROVs and see what we can find.
Yeah.
How successful are people going to be? I don't know.
When you get this data, you've got to see a bigger picture than
Yeah.
just a little video clip or just a little photograph. So
Yes.
it's really important the work that you're doing with this kind of stuff.